Confident people think they're immune to manipulation. Narcissists think, excellent, my favorite challenge. 1. Gaslight grandeur. Narcissists don't argue to prove they're right. They argue to erase your reality. Their goal isn't logic, it's confusion. They'll twist facts, deny obvious truths, and even forget things they said 2 minutes ago. When you start doubting your own memory, that's when they know they've won. You'll find yourself apologizing for things that never happened just to restore peace. It's psychological judo. They use your need for harmony to throw you off balance. Punchline: when you start Googling, "Am I crazy?" Congratulations, you've passed their first test. 2. The confidence harvest. Narcissists don't actually hate strong people. They hunt them. The more self-assured you are, the more valuable your validation becomes. They'll admire your strength, then slowly reframe it as arrogance. You think you're better than everyone is their favorite spell. It makes you shrink yourself just to prove you're humble. Before you realize it, you're performing weakness just to make them comfortable. Punchline: they don't destroy confidence directly. They convince you to hide it yourself. 3. The mirror trap. Early on, narcissists reflect your best traits back at you like a human mirror. They love what you love, hate what you hate, and seem to get you instantly. It's intoxicating. You think you've met your soulmate. But that reflection isn't admiration, it's data collection. The moment they sense you're attached, they weaponize the information. Your insecurities become buttons. Your dreams become bait. Punchline: you weren't falling in love. You were uploading your personality to their control panel. 4. The slow erosion technique. Narcissists don't crush your confidence overnight. They dissolve it, molecule by molecule. It starts innocently. A sarcastic comment about your outfit, a teasing jab about your career, a joke about how you talk too much or too little. You laugh it off because you're confident. You can take a joke, right? But here's the sinister brilliance. Every joke is a microscopic cut, and every time you don't react, you're training them to cut deeper. Over time, those tiny slices of humiliation form a pattern. You second-guess yourself before you even speak. You stop sharing wins because you know they'll find a way to dull them. You start editing your own personality for someone who was never editing theirs for you. Punchline: narcissists don't silence you. They teach you to mute yourself, and then call you quiet. 5. The praise-punish cycle. Confident people thrive on momentum. They move toward what rewards them. Narcissists hijack that instinct. At first, they drown you in admiration. "You're amazing. I've never met anyone like you. It feels incredible, like your confidence has finally met its equal." But then comes the switch. Suddenly, they withdraw the validation. You feel it immediately, like emotional withdrawal from a drug. You try harder, perform better, explain yourself more clearly, desperate to earn back that initial high. That's the trap. They've conditioned your nervous system to associate their approval with your worth. You're no longer driven by self-assurance. You're chasing crumbs from the person who baked the feast just to starve you later. Punchline: they don't need to break your spirit. They just need you addicted to their applause. 6. The boundary blur. Here's how narcissists invade without force. They use intimacy as camouflage. They'll tell you, "We're so close. I feel like I can say anything to you," or "You're the only one who understands me." Those phrases sound like emotional closeness, but they're really permission slips, ones you unknowingly sign. Suddenly, your time, privacy, and space aren't yours anymore. They'll read your messages, interrupt your work, mock your boundaries as cold, and frame your limits as rejection. Confident people are often generous. They assume openness means trust. Narcissists interpret openness as opportunity. The more access they get, the more control they gain. By the time you notice the imbalance, you're the one defending why you deserve privacy. Punchline: narcissists don't cross boundaries. They convince you they were never yours to begin with. 7. The insecurity inversion. This is the masterstroke. The moment the narcissist rewires your self-perception, they take your strongest traits, ambition, independence, charisma, and reframe them as flaws. You're too ambitious. You always have to be in control. You think you're better than everyone. These aren't insults, they're hypnosis. They rewrite your internal narrative until your confidence feels like arrogance, your assertiveness feels like aggression, and your calm feels like detachment. Now, every time you act from strength, you feel guilty. You start apologizing for being confident, the very thing that drew them to you in the first place. And once guilt replaces pride, they've won. Because nothing is easier to control than someone who doubts their right to exist boldly. Punchline: they don't just make you doubt your worth, they make you feel guilty for ever knowing it. 8. The empathy hijack. Narcissists don't exploit your weaknesses, they exploit your empathy. They'll tell you heartbreaking stories about their childhood, their crazy exes, or all the people who never appreciated them. It sounds vulnerable, but it's bait, emotional currency they'll cash in later. Every confession creates a sense of obligation in you. They've been hurt, I should be patient. That patience becomes their permission slip for cruelty. Confident people assume empathy is strength. And it is, until someone weaponizes it against you. Narcissists know that once you see them as wounded, you'll justify everything they do. The insults become just trauma. The manipulation becomes pain. You'll stop setting boundaries because you're too busy being their savior. Punchline: narcissists don't need to control you, they just need you to confuse compassion with loyalty. 9. The manufactured chaos effect. Confident people love clarity. Narcissists hate it. Clarity means accountability, so they create chaos. Plans constantly change, stories contradict, and moods swing faster than your nervous system can track. One day you're adored, the next you're accused. You'll spend hours trying to decode their behavior. What did I say wrong? Why are they upset? The confusion keeps you spinning, and while you're busy stabilizing them, they're quietly destabilizing you. This is deliberate. Chaos isn't a symptom, it's a strategy. It forces your brain into survival mode, making you hyper-alert to their approval. Soon, you're managing their emotions like a hostage negotiator instead of living your life. Punchline: narcissists don't thrive in chaos. They are the chaos, and you're the one cleaning it up. 10. The public persona trap. One of the cruelest tricks? How charming they seem to everyone but you. In public, they're magnetic, generous, funny, attentive. People say, "You're so lucky to have them." Meanwhile, behind closed doors, you're living with a completely different person. That contrast isolates you because no one believes your story. You start questioning your own perception. Maybe I'm overreacting. That's the point. Their reputation becomes their alibi. They know confident people care about fairness and credibility, so they make sure they look saintly to outsiders. That way, when you finally speak up, you sound bitter or unstable. It's a flawless cover, a social mask polished with your silence. Punchline: narcissists don't just gaslight you privately, they build an audience to applaud the illusion. 11. The conditional love contract. At first, their love feels like a reward. Later, it becomes a wage you have to earn. They'll only be affectionate when you meet invisible conditions. Agree with them, validate them, let them win. The moment you assert yourself, they withdraw warmth like it's electricity in a blackout. Confident people think they can reason their way back into harmony, but logic doesn't work here. This isn't a relationship, it's a behavioral experiment. Every approval, every smile, every crumb of affection is conditioning you. You start anticipating what version of yourself will keep the peace. You're no longer being loved, you're being trained. Punchline: narcissists don't stop loving you. They just turn affection into leverage. 12. The rewrite reality trick. When cornered, narcissists don't apologize. They rewrite. They'll change timelines, reinterpret conversations, and insist you misunderstood everything. They'll say, "I never said that," or "You're twisting my words," until you start doubting your own mind. This isn't forgetfulness, it's narrative warfare. Their goal is to make you the unreliable narrator of your own life. The danger for confident people is that they assume truth always wins. But narcissists aren't fighting for truth, they're fighting for dominance. If they can make you question what's real, they own the story. And whoever owns the story owns the power. Punchline: narcissists don't need to control what happened, only what you believe happened. 13. The "you're too sensitive" defense. This is their all-time favorite escape hatch. Whenever you call out their cruelty, they don't defend what they said. They attack how you felt. You're too sensitive. I was just joking. You always overreact. It's not a defense, it's a diversion. Suddenly, the conversation shifts from their behavior to your emotional stability. You stop being the victim and become the problem. Confident people fall for this trap because they value rationality. They don't want to seem dramatic. So they tone it down, question themselves, apologize for being too emotional. That's exactly what the narcissist wants. Your silence disguised as maturity. Punchline: narcissists don't just insult you, they convince you the insult was your imagination. 14. The silent treatment symphony. When words fail, they use silence as a weapon. The narcissist's cold shoulder isn't avoidance, it's punishment. They withdraw attention to trigger panic. Suddenly, your confident, composed self is refreshing your messages, replaying conversations, and wondering what you did wrong. Silence from a narcissist is never random. It's a power play designed to make you chase them for closure. Each hour they ignore you increases their perceived value in your mind. It's emotional starvation. The longer they withhold, the hungrier you become. When they finally reappear, your relief feels like gratitude. And just like that, you're trained to fear their silence more than their cruelty. Punchline: narcissists don't ghost you. They go silent just to hear you scream internally. 15. The projection trap. Here's the most disturbing part. The things they accuse you of are exactly what they're doing. If they call you manipulative, they're lying to you. If they call you selfish, they're draining you. If they accuse you of cheating, they're already planning their next betrayal. It's called psychological projection, a defense mechanism that turns confession into accusation. Confident people get trapped here because they want to defend themselves. They explain, prove, justify, all while missing the real trick. The narcissist isn't arguing to find truth. They're arguing to exhaust you. The longer you defend yourself, the guiltier you look. Punchline: narcissists don't hide their sins. They hang them around your neck and call them proof. 16. The hero to victim. Flip. This is where they reveal their Oscar-worthy acting skills. When you finally call them out or set a boundary, the narcissist transforms instantly. The confident, loud, dominant personality becomes fragile, weeping, misunderstood. Suddenly, you are the abuser. They'll say things like, "You don't understand what I've been through," or "You're so cold now, what happened to you?" It's psychological aikido. They redirect your strength against you. And because confident people hate being unfair, they soften, comfort, explain, which resets the cycle. The narcissist learns exactly which emotional buttons to press to get forgiveness. Punchline: narcissists don't fear confrontation. They weaponize your compassion during it. 17. The reputation sabotage strategy. By the time you realize you've been targeted, they've already rewritten your story to everyone else. Before the breakup, before the fallout, they've been planting seeds, subtle hints that you're unstable, controlling, or impossible to please. So when you finally speak out, no one's shocked. They've preloaded your audience with their version. It's not gossip, it's preemptive character assassination. Confident people underestimate this move because they assume truth speaks for itself. But narcissists understand something terrifying. Social perception is truth to most people. They don't destroy your confidence publicly, they just corrode your credibility quietly. And when the people around you start acting distant, you won't even know why. Punchline: narcissists don't just ruin your reputation, they make you feel guilty for defending it. 18. The tiny favor. Trap. It always starts small. Can you just help me with this? Can you stay a bit longer? Can you cover for me this once? Each request sounds harmless, almost flattering. You help because you're capable, kind, and confident. But those small favors are reconnaissance missions. They're testing how far your boundaries stretch before they snap. And once they know you'll say yes, they'll never stop asking. Before long, you're the unpaid therapist, the emergency hotline, the emotional janitor cleaning up their messes. You tell yourself you're being supportive, but you're really being recruited. Narcissists don't take advantage of weak people. They take advantage of strong people who don't notice they're being used. Punchline: Narcissists don't ask for help. They outsource responsibility, and you're the contractor. 19. The "you owe me" contract. Every act of kindness comes with invisible fine print. They'll do something nice, buy a gift, give a compliment, make a gesture, and later cash it in like a debt. "After everything I've done for you" becomes their favorite phrase. In their world, generosity isn't selfless. It's currency. You don't owe them gratitude, you owe them obedience. Confident people struggle with this because they value fairness. They think, maybe I do owe them. You don't. Healthy people give because they want to. Narcissists give because they're setting up a payment plan. And the longer you stay, the more interest you pay in guilt. Punchline: narcissists don't give gifts. They issue invoices wrapped in ribbons. 20. The triangulation game. The fastest way to make you feel insecure: bring in a third person. They'll casually mention an ex who still texts sometimes, or praise a coworker just a little too much. It's not accidental, it's bait. They want you competing for attention that should already be yours. It keeps them in control, sitting smugly on the emotional throne while you and the imaginary rival fight for crumbs. Triangulation isn't about attraction, it's about domination. The narcissist creates invisible love triangles not to find better partners, but to test your fear of losing them. Every reaction, jealousy, silence, withdrawal, gives them data. They're not looking for loyalty. They're measuring how much control they have. Punchline: narcissists don't want a relationship. They want an arena. 21. The "help me fix myself" illusion. Eventually, they'll drop the mask and say the words every empath wants to hear. "I know I'm broken. I want to change." It's bait wrapped in vulnerability. Confident, compassionate people fall hardest here because it activates their purpose instinct, the need to help, to heal, to fix. You'll stay through pain, lies, and chaos because you believe your patience will spark their redemption arc. It won't. They don't want healing. They want absolution. Your forgiveness is their shield. Your hope is their leash. They'll talk about change just long enough to keep you invested, then relapse into the same patterns with a new excuse. Punchline: narcissists don't want to be fixed. They just want you too broken to leave. 22. The confusion as control method. They never say exactly what they mean. That's the point. They speak in riddles, contradictions, and half-truths, leaving you decoding their sentences like emotional algebra. "That's not what I meant. You misunderstood." Or, "You always twist my words." These phrases aren't defense, they're design. Confusion equals compliance. When your brain is foggy, you stop trusting yourself and start relying on them for clarity. That's when they move from your partner to your interpreter. Confident people especially struggle here because they're used to solving problems, and narcissists weaponize that drive. They'll never give you enough information to win, only enough to keep you playing. Punchline: narcissists don't lie to hide the truth. They lie to make truth depend on them. 23. The personality extraction process. By this stage, it's not just about control, it's about identity theft. They'll start erasing the parts of you they once praised. The confidence they admired becomes ego. The independence they adored becomes selfishness. Piece by piece, they dismantle your personality until only the version they prefer remains: quiet, compliant, and easy to predict. You stop dressing the way you like, talking the way you used to, or pursuing the things that made you feel alive. Every choice starts with, "Will this upset them?" That's how they win, not by conquering your mind, but by convincing you to abandon it. It's psychological colonization. They replace your inner voice with theirs, and when you finally look in the mirror, you don't see confidence anymore. You see confusion wearing your face. Punchline: narcissists don't want to love you. They want to replace you with their reflection. 24. The emotional withdrawal trap. When they sense you're waking up, pulling away, getting stronger, seeing patterns, they don't lash out. They vanish. The silence this time isn't punishment, it's conditioning. They disappear long enough to make you panic, then return like nothing happened. That relief you feel, that's the addiction cycle reloading. Your nervous system mistakes the end of chaos for peace, and suddenly you're grateful to have them back. That's the trick. They teach you to crave the absence of pain as if it's love. So even when they're gone, they still control you through the echo of their silence. Punchline: narcissists don't break up with you. They uninstall themselves from your piece and wait for you to re-download them. 25. The redemption reboot. Every narcissist knows the value of a sequel. After the chaos, the guilt, the distance, they reappear with a perfect apology arc. I've changed. I went to therapy. I finally see what I did. It's Oscar-worthy. They'll say all the right words, mimic growth, even cry on cue. Confident people fall hardest here because they believe in progress. They think maybe they've learned. But narcissists don't change. They adapt. They mirror your expectations of healing just long enough to earn another chance. And the moment you relax, the same script restarts with new justifications. Punchline: narcissists don't evolve. They just update their manipulation software. 26. The final mirage. You made me better. This is their parting gift, their final act of psychological theater. When you finally leave, they'll rewrite history one last time. You were the best thing that ever happened to me. You changed me. You made me realize what love is. They want to freeze in your memory as almost redeemed, because if you still believe you saved them, you'll carry guilt instead of anger. And guilt keeps you from healing. They don't miss you. They miss your function, the mirror that made them feel powerful. But here's the paradox. The very strength they tried to destroy is what finally breaks their control. The moment you stop trying to understand them, you start becoming free. Punchline: narcissists never change for you. They just rehearse for their next audience. So, there you have it. 26 psychological tricks narcissists use to break confident people. Not by overpowering them, but by reprogramming how they see themselves. They can't steal your strength, only your perspective on it. The moment you stop explaining, stop fixing, and stop apologizing for having boundaries, the game ends. Now tell me, which of these mind games have you seen in action? And more importantly, which ones will never work on you again?